Hi, today we are going to talk about the first part of the Stella project, which is creating the focal point. So I always encourage students to check their requirements for the project as they're working on it, especially with this project. It is very easy to get off track, and then there's no way to fix it if you've already colored or sharpied. So I want to focus on number 2, which says create one focal point that is made up of 2, 3, or 4 boxes. Focal point should not be at the very top or the very bottom. So let's look at our vocabulary sheet and let's see what that means. Oh, that's not our vocab sheet. So number 6 says, focal point is the center of interest in an artwork. So when you look at an artwork, the focal point is the first thing that your eye goes to. Now, I have this Stella resource sheet to kind of help you. It gives a little bit more of styles of drawings that are very similar to his protractor series and just other things that he did. So anytime that you look at an artwork, your eye usually travels to one place first. So if I look at like these squares, my eye travels to the middle of the square first because all these lines are kind of pointing to that center space. So that would be the focal point of the artwork. So let me hop over to my document camera and I'm going to show you how this is going to be done. All right. So on my project, it's important to first figure out, did I select asymmetrical balance or symmetrical? Remember, asymmetrical means it can be different on both sides. Symmetrical means that it has to be the same on both sides. So if I selected asymmetrical balance, that means my focal point, I'm going to write it on here, my focal point equals 2, 3, or 4 boxes. I have a lot of choices whenever I do asymmetrical. Now, let's say you circled symmetrical and now you want asymmetrical. You can exit out and circle the one you want. I don't care either way. Symmetrical, since it is the same on both sides, the focal point can only be 2 or 4 boxes because it has to be an even number because they have to be the same on both sides. So when I look at my finished artwork, this is my finished Stella project, and it's hard to get the entire thing in the camera. It's really supposed to go like this. Okay, you can see the top, see the bottom. The coloring's a little off, but that's okay. If usually I ask a student, what is the focal point of this artwork? And the focal point in this section would be these 3 boxes. So I could use 2, 3, or 4 boxes as the focal point. Now, here's the deal. You don't want to put the focal point at the very top. You don't want to put the focal point at the very bottom. You want it to be somewhere in this middle section. So out of these 6 boxes, you want it to be 2, 3, or 4 of these boxes. All right, so let me go to my project. And this one, I am going to do symmetrical. So you're going to have to kind of like keep in mind while I'm demonstrating, is she doing symmetrical or asymmetrical? And I'm going to kind of talk about that in further detail. So what you're going to need for this project is a pencil, obviously. You may want a separate eraser because you might make a lot of mistakes. Mine's super dirty. That's just how it goes. You're going to need a ruler. And if you're at school, you're going to need a protractor and a compass. So there are many types of compasses, but this is just the kind that I use. If you're at home and you want to go buy one of these, I'm not making you buy them, but if you just want them as tools, you can usually get protractors. I don't know about compasses, but protractors at any like office supply store, things like that. The protractor or the compasses, you may be able to get at like Office Max or Office Depot, or maybe even Hobby Lobby because it's considered a drawing tool, okay? But this is not required. You can also use like lids in your kitchen, like the top of Tupperware, and you can use other things that make circles too. You could also probably draw this out and cut one out and make a stencil yourself if you're at home. All right, so that aside, Oh, the last comment is when you're doing this project, you have to use one of these three tools. You can't free draw anything. So I can't take my pencil and just free draw something. That is against the rules in this project. You have to use one of these three tools because that is what Frank Stella did. Alrighty. So I'm going to say my project is going to have symmetrical balance. So the line of symmetry is down this very middle. If I can't have my focal point at the very top and bottom, I'm going to use these middle two boxes. If I did 4 though for this project, I could do 4 right here because there's no choice. Okay, so what am I going to draw? Well, usually in this project, I say, who knows? Just start drawing. See what happens. So I'm going to take one of my tools and I'm going to use these, the first 2 boxes, and I'm going to stay within those boxes. I'm not going to draw outside of it. Now notice this is a mirror image. So if I drew an arc on this side, the arc on this side is a mirror image if I cut this down the middle because I'm doing symmetrical. All right, let's say, okay, I'm going to do this again. And again, I'm just making this up. There's no pattern that I'm looking at. There is that Frank Stella resource sheet that I just showed you a minute ago on my computer that you can look at to help you. But I want you to realize when I'm doing this, I did not have a plan. I'm just kind of like letting this go however it works. Okay, so if I do a line on this side, like here, I have to do the mirror image on the other side because this is a symmetrical design. Okay, so I've been using the protractor a lot. I wouldn't have to just use the protractor. So let's say I make a line, my ruler on this side, then I'm going to make a line with my ruler on the other side. Okay, so I got that. I could make as many lines as I see fit. More intricate designs, I think, look better than just plain. If it's too boring, it's not really cool. All right, then I could use this. You don't have to use all 3 tools on everything, but it's an option. So I'm actually going to use the inside circle. Just like that. It's a little off. I probably need to move that a little over. But here I go. It looks like a beetle. So I have a symmetrical design on the paper. Now, it should look like it goes together. So if your focal point is your area of interest, it should look like these two relate to each other. They shouldn't be totally different. Even if I have an asymmetrical design. So this one is the both sides do not have to be equal. I chose 3 different boxes to do my focal point in right here. And they're kind of all different, but I made them look at least like they connect. Because when you look at an artwork, if your 3 don't look like they go together or they don't look like they connect, it is not going to be a successful focal point, okay? So this is an asymmetrical example and design. I would like you to show me your focal point when you are done before you move on. Whether you take a picture and email me, whether you show me in class would be easier because then I can check and make sure it's correct before you move on because this is hard. So focal point and stop. Thank you.